Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to All About Healing, and I'm your host, Emily Francis, and it's time for Emily's Energy Corner. And today we had our guest on, Ann Gadd, and she wrote the book, Sex and the Enneagram. And I know a lot of people that are diehard Enneagram followers. I was never one of them, but I'm a lot more interested now that I've talked to Ann, especially. I have looked up the Enneagram. I've worked with people that always want to know what your Enneagram number is so they can kind of get an idea for you. It's really a lot the way I look at astrology. I need to know what your sign is. I need to get a little background on you because I need to know how to approach you, quite frankly, and the way that you kind of work, the way those cylinders go. It's a really fantastic book, and I highly encourage it. I think it's really, really great. I think it should be in every church and every school and every bookstore that carries the Enneagram book, the blue one that everybody buys. I think this one should be sitting next to it in those stores. So I videotape Emily's Energy Corner, and I put it up on my YouTube on EmilyAFrancisBooks.com, and every week I try to look nice. This is like the one day of the week that I full on makeup and do all this stuff, and if you're watching today, I have no makeup on and my hair is dirty, and I just didn't have time to pull it together, and I want to talk about that a little bit because I really love when people keep it real and they're really honest, and when it comes to my writing, I'm very forthcoming with information. But if you're like on my social media, I don't tell you anything because I don't want to share that stuff on social media. If you're near me, I'm also very forthcoming with information. But I think it's hard sometimes to be really transparent and honest because I don't know about you, and I don't know for the moms out there. For me, when things go wrong or hard with my children, I pretty much drop out of the rest of my life and go into a different mode to just figure out the next best steps to make sure that we're doing the right things. And for those of you that have listened to the show, hopefully you know that my daughter has recovery from an autism spectrum diagnosis, which I know people freak out and they go, that's not possible. People don't get off the spectrum. It is possible. She is off the spectrum, and healing occurs all over the world. And it's only your judgment that puts that top onto the jar of your possibilities for healing. And I don't do that. I believe that miracles and body healing and all kinds of shifts can happen within the self when healing is an acceptable resource as an outcome. Truly, because I think that our minds can limit what is possible. But the past few weeks, I've really had a hard time because we moved, and I thought it was going to be a great move, and the new school was her undoing. And it was watching 3 years of incredible recovery go right out the window. And I always was afraid of regression, but I never saw it. It never happened. And it was like, I used to say that the treatments that we found that were alternative, it was almost like finding a remote control and learning how to push the right buttons and make her brain function at optimal levels, and that's what gave her recovery. And then it's like we started school here and somebody grabbed the remote and said, off, turn it off. All those great things that we found, turn them off. And it's been this undoing. And I haven't, talked about it publicly or written about it or any of that because it's an incredibly vulnerable place to be. And what happens with me is I start crying, and so I don't want to talk about it too much. But today, on the Energy Corner, we do talk about healing. The show is called All About Healing. And in the past couple of weeks, I've removed her from school. I have started the homeschool program, and then I knew I was going to find something else, and I did. I found this incredible classical school program where they go to school 3 days a week, and I teach from home 2 days a week, and they give me the curriculum, and it's amazing. But everybody keeps asking me, how'd you find it? And honestly, I'm terrible on the internet. I don't find things very easily or very well. And I feel like Spirit took over and said, okay, let me find this for you. There's actually something really close to your house. There's an amazing opportunity, and it's right here. And this is the same kind of thing that Ann was just talking about on the Enneagram when I was saying, I think I'm a 2 or a 6, but I'm not sure. And she was talking about the number 6 and how if you're going into it from a sexual place, they're fearful of STDs, they have all these different sort of outlets, and what if this is happening, and what if this is happening, and they're very prepared. That is definitely me. So everything that I approach in my life is, where's the exit points? If something goes wrong or something's really hard, Where's the exit points? Where do I go to make sure that I get it better? And in my personal life, helping my child find her way again and basically re-recovering. Not that we totally lost recovery, but it's like coming from the halfway point and trying to re-recover. And it's exactly what she was talking about with the sixes, that they're very prepared, but they also are, there is a thing that happens when crisis comes up in my life, and I have to do everything that I can. And she was saying about the sixes that the big thing to say to someone is, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And that was the part that I was fighting in my head. So I don't know if this reaches anybody that's listening or not, but I had a dual conversation the whole time. From the moment that I saw we're in the wrong place. I know what she looks like when she's thriving, and I know what she looks like when she's drowning, and right now we are in crisis. And I had this dual thing in my head going, it's going to be okay. You're going to find the right answer. This is all going to work out, and you're going to be okay. But then I had that other part of me going, but what if it's not? What if it's not okay? And what if we've done, irreparable damage where we can't get it back this time? Because I can't do the same foundation of the path to help her recover because we're still doing those therapies. This isn't finding the same stuff we found before because they're already still in place in our life. We stay ahead on our recovery. So we keep up with the craniosacral therapy, and we keep up with our naturopath, and we do NAET. And I drive an hour and a half to get to the other side of town to keep our old therapist. We still have the same healing team in our life. So it was never going to be the same picture to recover again. And that was something that I had to accept, that to find the healing this time, I was going to have to do it a different way. And it was going to have to be changing the circumstance, and it was going to have to be changing our minds and the direction and how we speak to ourselves and how we function in the world. And that's incredibly hard, but that's what healing is. Even recovery of any kind. Let's say it's always the easy one, but you're an alcoholic and you're a recovering alcoholic. You're always in recovery. You're always staying ahead to keep the steps in place to maintain the recovery that you've reached. When my child's diagnosis was removed because she no longer met criteria for any level on the spectrum, it doesn't mean it's totally gone and she's perfect. It means that she would be considered socially awkward or shy, but she's not on that graph. But it's that dual thing of, I know I'm going to find my way, it's going to be okay, and at the same time, you have to sit with that panic. So if you're having a hard time right now and you're hearing those dual voices of it's all going to work out and it's going to be okay, and the other side that's saying, what if it's not? It's perfectly okay to sit with both, but don't get lost. Don't get lost in the panic. That's today's Energy Corner. I hope it was helpful to you who are listening, and I look forward to having you guys back here next week. You're listening to All About Healing. Make it a great week.